Bill Gates questions Elon Musk's goals with Twitter. He said he could make things worse. Meanwhile, Musk says right now that the Twitter deal is on hold, and he says this is over spam bot data. As we see here, Twitter is now under fire over fake accounts after Elon Musk challenged the world's richest man through his $44 billion deal to buy the social media giant into disarray on Friday by saying the proposed takeover was on hold until he could determine whether a proportion of fake accounts or bots was less than 5%, as Twitter has estimated in stock market filings for the year. So as he's trying to work out the bot issue, trying to make Twitter better, Bill Gates here is saying he could possibly make it worse. And this particular article goes on to say that Gates said that he plans to set up a 3,000-person social media unit to help propagate so-called accurate vaccine information in the future, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk about all of this and much, much more in today's video. But before we do, guys, very quickly, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. I really need your help moving forward here. You can do a one-time donation at PayPal. You can do Bitcoin. You can do other cryptocurrencies. You can sign up to my Subscribe Star right here. It's like a Patreon alternative since I've been kicked off of Patreon. You can do a monthly reoccurring contribution right here as well. It goes directly to me. You can do an e-transfer to Dan at pressfortruth.ca, especially if you're Canadian. That's a great way to go. Or if you guys like to keep things old school, you can always just send cash or checks or equipment or simply just words of encouragement to my P.O. box, guys. Links are all located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who does contribute to my efforts to bring you this info. All right, so let's just jump right into it, guys. Gates questions Musk's goals with Twitter, saying he could make things worse. Bill Gates has warned that Elon Musk could make Twitter worse after the Tesla CEO pledged to buy the social media firm for $44 billion. Speaking at the Wall Street Journal's CEO Summit Wednesday, Gates said it's unclear how Musk will change Twitter if he takes ownership, while also raising concerns about the spread of misinformation on social media platforms. The Microsoft co-founder admitted that Musk's track record at other companies is impressive, hailing his time at the helm of Tesla and SpaceX as mind-blowing. Gates said he believes Musk has done a good job of putting together a great team of engineers at those companies, but he says, I kind of doubt that's going to happen this time. But we should have an open mind and never underestimate Elon, he says. The tech billionaire's comments come after Musk accused him of shorting Tesla. Now, in case you're not familiar with that term, shorting a stock is essentially when you are kind of like making a bet that a certain stock is going to go down. You see something coming, you think this particular company is not going to do well in the near future, so you kind of short it, put a bet on it that it's going to go down. And Bill Gates did that with Tesla stock. Actually, here is the where it came out. So apparently Bill Gates hit up Elon Musk to discuss philanthropy on climate change. You know, he's like, oh, I just landed, cool. He says he wants to talk to him about, you know, philanthropy efforts. And Gates goes on to say, sorry, I can't take your philanthropy on climate change seriously when you have a massive short position against Tesla, the company that's doing the most to solve climate change, after saying he would like to discuss philanthropy possibilities. And, you know, he says, no, I haven't closed that out. Somebody chimes in here saying, is this real? And Musk says, yeah, but I didn't leak it to the New York Times. They must have got it through friends of friends. I heard from multiple people at TED that Gates still had $500 million short against Tesla, which is why I asked him. So it's not exactly top secret. So there it is. Gates has $500 million short against Tesla. Musk also tweeted a crude joke about Gates that CNBC has decided not to print. And here's what he just so happened to share on Twitter in regards to Bill Gates. Gates said that the insults don't bother him. Gates, who has been replaced by Musk as the world's richest person in recent years, went on to question what Musk's goal is with Twitter and whether his drive to promote free speech is sensible. I mean, is it sensible to promote free speech? Is that really the sensible thing to do, Bill Gates asks, is to promote free speech? How does he feel about something on Twitter that says vaccines kill people? Or Bill Gates is tracking people, Gates said. And this is just insane that he would say this. How does he feel that somebody on Twitter might say vaccines kill people? Well, vaccines do kill people. I mean, this isn't some kind of crazy conspiracy. You could look at this from their own data. This is the CDC right here. Here's what you need to know. Here's a whole bunch of the side effects. You can just go through here. You got it all the allergic reactions coming through, thrombosis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, myocarditis. It goes on and on. And down here we see VAERS have received 14,596 preliminary reports of deaths among people who have received a COVID-19 vaccine. So nearly 15,000 people, according to their own data, has died from the vaccines. So when he sits here and says, when somebody says vaccines kill people, how does he feel about something like that? Well, this is why it's important to not be the gatekeepers of information like Bill Gates wants to be, and to allow Musk to open this up for people to be able to do their own due diligence and to find what the truth actually is. What are his goals for what it ends up being? Does that match his ideas of less extreme falsehoods spreading so quickly and weird conspiracy theories? Does he share that goal or not? Gates said. A representative from Musk did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Over the last few weeks, Musk has hinted at a number of ways he may look to improve Twitter beyond promoting free speech. Late on Tuesday, for example, he suggests he might start charging companies a slight fee to use the platforms. Combating misinformation. Vaccine misinformation has spread like wildfire on social media during the COVID-19 84 pandemic, with some wrongly claiming that Gates was somehow using vaccine to implant 5G chips into people so he could track their location. Okay, this is starting to tick me off. This really has to be addressed on how it got to this point, guys. And interestingly enough, I exposed this in this video called The Coronavirus 5G PSYOP Exposed. And as I said, interestingly enough, in this video, I point out that it was Twitter bots who came up with this conspiracy theory that 5G and coronavirus are somehow connected. It was literally a bot campaign that put it out there through thousands of fake accounts. The mainstream media started picking up on this. They started saying, look at what these crazy people are saying, and then actual crazy people there started to fall for it and went around burning down 5G towers because of this coronavirus nonsense. And then they tried to bring that back to turning that around to saying all of a sudden they're trying to say that they're implanting 5G chips into people so they can track their location. Again, this all stemmed from the bots, and which is interesting that Musk is currently trying to work on this bot issue. But Gates says that he's potentially making this thing worse. That's so unexpected and almost bizarre, Gates said. Now that I'm back in the physical world, people can come up and yell at protests. He said it's dangerous when people cast out on the key tool that's being used to save people's lives, and he believes those who own social media platforms have a role to play when it comes to ensuring the truth gets shared effectively. Yeah, that's the first true statement you've said. To ensure the truth gets shared effectively, not gatekept, not controlled, but effectively shared rather than completely controlled. When you don't have the trusted leaders speaking out about vaccines, it's pretty hard for the platform to work against that, he admitted. So I think we have a leadership problem and we have a platform problem. The way that you make those platforms spread truth and not crazy stuff, there's some real invention required here. It's a huge problem in terms of legitimacy of elections or medical innovations, any sort of collective behavior, he added. The fact that information on efficacy of drugs can move quickly and cheaply should be a blessing to mankind, Gates said, before going on a call that hydroxychloroquine saga is insane. And guys, again, when he says things like this, it makes me think the opposite. I mean, according to my research, hydroxychloroquine is good for dealing with the common cold or the flu in certain cases, which essentially is what COVID-19 is. He says, I can't explain that. He says, I don't think digital is responsible for that obsession with drugs that don't work. And here it is, guys. Gates said he plans to set up a 3,000-person social media unit to help propagate accurate vaccine information in the future. He stressed that, quote, good messages need to be carried forward by people of trust in the community, such as political and ethnic leaders. So he wants to have influencers, 3,000 of them, on social media to put out so-called good messages for a need to carry out forward people who are trusted in the community. This is very, very wild. And it reminds me of something interesting, guys, that I want to share with you. Not long ago, I had to get my Mac book fixed, and I couldn't go to the Mac store, but they have Mac technicians at London Drugs stores. So I went into a London Drugs to have my computer fixed, and the technician there actually recognized me, and he said, "Hey, you're Dan Dicks, Press for Truth. Love your work, man. Great stuff." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. Awesome, cool. Glad you like it." And he says, "Hey, I wanted to share this with you. The only reason why I know who you are and how I found you is that I was on a Reddit subreddit for Vancouver that was discussing what happened at the BLM rallies, and there was this whole thread about this big bad white supremacist Nazi guy, and he says, I know every time this particular group starts claiming that this guy is bad, I know that I should probably check out what that guy is saying." And he says, because of what they were saying on that BLM subreddit on Reddit, he's like, that intrigued me to want to check you out. And he says, I went, and sure enough, all your info is completely bang on. And I'm so glad I found you in this way. And the reason why I tell you that story is because I see something similar happening here, as soon as we know who this 3,000 person persona on social media is, and when they try to put out any information on vaccines, it's going to be easy to look at that and say, it's probably the exact opposite of what's happening here. Just like that kid at London Drugs figured that out, I think you guys can figure that out too, is when he sets up this basically gatekeepers of information center, we will recognize it for what it is, and it will basically tip us off to what we really should be looking into. So I'll leave it with this, guys. Bill Gates is amazing, isn't he? He launches artificial breast milk right as the formula shortages hit America. He's the largest investor in vaccines, and there's a pandemic. He's the largest owner of farmland in America, and there's a food crisis. It's like he's clairvoyant. And in case you missed my recent video on that, before there were baby formula shortages, Bill Gates backed lab-grown breast milk. And indeed, I talked about the agenda with the farmlands and the baby formula shortages. Guys, if you have missed that one, please check it out. All the links for all of the stuff we talked about are going to be located in the description below. Don't forget to check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Once again, if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information. And that's all for today, my friends. I want to thank you so much once again for tuning in. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family who need to see this the most. And stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.